on a mission down south, and we're on our way to a very special nursery. Not too long ago, one of you guys reached out to me, and I'm so excited to show you guys this nursery because it specializes in one particular genus, and that is Epiphyllum. Garden Jewels Nursery is a nursery established by a woman when she turned 70. This woman-owned business has been run successfully by her and her partner in life, Cherie. They sell over 425 varieties of one plant, the Epiphyllum, sometimes called the jungle cactus or orchid cactus. Garden Jewels Nursery is a nursery in Point Loma, San Diego, and is run by Katie Handel-Lutz and her partner Cherie. They grow over 425 varieties of epiphyllums and is considered to be the largest epi nursery this side of the Mississippi.
Are for sale. And they range in prices from $69, the little guys here, all the way up to about under 200, all the way to some of the bigger ones that are 7 years old. Some are 12 years old. I've been on the web for 15 years. Trying to show it off.
Yeah, it is that beautiful color.
It's a couple days old.
Yeah.
The flowers only last, the larger the flower, the shorter it lasts. Here's some little babies coming along. These are about 1.5 years to 2. It takes 3 years for a cutting to bloom, usually, unless it's a guiding star or something. They bloom before they root.
Okay.
I leave the stems on because we have a person who's interested in seeds.
Oh.
And if they've been propagated and we leave the flowers on, then they'll grow a seed by December, and a seed will have maybe 100 seeds in it. It's like a kiwi,
Oh yeah.
and it tastes like a kiwi. But every one of these is different, and every one tastes a little bit different.
Oh, that's good.
But the fruit looks like a kiwi. Tastes similar to a kiwi, but different flavors.
Do you often eat the fruit?
I don't usually leave it on, except that we have a person who's interested in the seeds this year to buy them.
Oh, okay.
Because it takes a lot of energy from the plant to do that. But these are so mature, they don't care.
They're good.
They're all different sizes up there.
Wow.
They're the only ones that are not alphabetical. Most of these are going to be future mother plants, or else they're ones that are the mother plants having a problem. So all these are future mother plants that we don't have yet. And oh, by the way, the weeds. If you want to keep weeds out, use PREEM, the garden size. Don't use the other size; it'll kill them. Here are my 2 workers that I can't do without.
But he's the star of the show, really.
This is Eric.
Eric.
He's just amazing, and Elwood is too. They both do have their own special talents. They're both amazing men. I couldn't do any. As you see, I'm a little crippled up. I'm 86 now.
See right behind you, there's some beautiful.
We just pick up the tiles off the ground. There's a few stands up there. The little one is the cutting. They start at 19, and then the 4-inch pot is what we call a rooted cutting. I'll show you up here. So the ones that I sell on the web, we start with a cutting at 19, and it's usually 6 to 8 inches. And that's all longer, but sometimes they're that long, if it's that plant particularly. And the next little 4-inch pot, that's called a rooted cutting. And the rooted cuttings sell for $29. A rooted cutting has to have at least 6 to 8 inches of growth. We have the next size up, it's the half gallon. Those are $39. And they don't usually grow flowers, but they can, because they're only like 2 years old. You have to be 3 years old to be able to get flowers, but not always. These over here behind you, $49.59. That's the gallon and a half.
We're going to be given a tour by Elwood, so he's going to show us around. Really excited to learn all about these plants.
These are kind of like mother plants. She had mentioned those earlier, and these are basics, like the growers, starter plants that we're going to turn into mothers. Some really unusual ones that we're excited about blooming and growing and eventually selling. And then along here we have all the mother plants. Overall, you can see we are all mostly blooming, and so yeah, the blooms have faded, but they're just beautiful and easy care. These are such easy care plants. And the Epiphyllum came from South America and the Amazon, and so it grew in the top of the trees. Crazy. And then they just started propagating for color, and so and if you go down here, there's a lot more color for you to look at here, like these beautiful white and yellow. This is called Easter Morn. It's huge, isn't it? Like just so giant. And then we have Glamour. Yeah, Glamour's just beautiful. Lovely, lovely colors. This is one of my favorite oranges. The orange ones are always my favorite. Right here, and that's
orange ones too.
Yeah, Hawaii. So. I know. And then here we go, and this is, oh yeah, Jovial Bronze. That's beautiful, just beautiful. And such interesting names. They're all named by the propagator, sometimes named after the propagator. So it's, there's Dr., we have a couple named after doctors. So,
That one's stunning.
isn't it beautiful? It's Foxy Lady.
Foxy Lady.
Yeah.
Aptly named.
And they have crazy names. I mean, like, there's Dracula over here. I guess you'll find it for you. There's Dracula, there's Dark Skies, there, some, yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is, yeah. And here's a Dr. Weirman. This one is Desert Sunset.
Nursery is right by the airport.
But these are super bee friendly. Lots of the bees love this. So
Yes.
you're giving back here a lot. Another one here. So
Right there. This is where all the magic happens.
yes.
Propagating.
Potting. We sell internationally, so she'll tell you a little bit more about that. But so there's people from Japan and Germany, all over Europe, who will buy from her. So it's pretty. These plants are surprisingly collectible. There's international societies for the epiphyllums. There's local San Diego and LA societies. There's American societies. So you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huge fan base.
huge fan base. And we have some lovely yellow. Don't see my name on it. Here we go. This one is Veneta. Beautiful, isn't it?
Veneta?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Virginia Strong. So anybody's watching for Virginia? Virginia Strong.
Virginia Strong. Arcadia?
Arcadia.
Any
Oh,
locals?
yeah, you're for the local. This one up here, Bamba, is just gorgeous. That pink and white. Just gorgeous colors. There's so many. I mean, it's breathtaking sometimes what you see, the mix of colors. Another big giant pink one here, and this is Tahitian Prince. Another orange. Beautiful, that pink stuff. Pink. And these gorgeous orange. And you can see there's a bit of hint of orange and pink.
Yeah.
I mean, just the colors again. And here's one with kind of purple in the center.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these are known to have blooms that last like overnight generally?
So yeah, you can get up to some will last 2 or 3 days, but like the most famous one of all is
Yeah.
the Queen of the Night, and the Queen of the Night only lasts. It'll start blooming about 9 o'clock and be gone by 6 in the morning. So, but it is beautiful. So, and it's kind of a collector one. So, yeah, and it's also, if I remember right, it's one of the ones that they propagate a lot of the color. Like it's white, so they get all the color from it. They propagate it with some other ones and get some great colors.
They infuse like some colors.
Yeah,
to it.
exactly. This is called Amber Glow, but it is just look at that glow. It's so beautiful.
That is.
So, pink are probably the most common. But as you can see, the flowers are just giant. I mean, you're
Yeah.
hand size. And sometimes, one of my favorites is actually called Fruling Gold, and the petals are just curly and wild, and they're orange and yellow, and it's just unusual, but they're small. And so, and then there's even some that are tiny. But
Thanks for the awesome tour, Elwood. Now that we've gotten a tour of the nursery, we can explore and check it out for ourselves. I've never seen so many different varieties of epiphyllums all in one place. This is really special. Look at this one. This one has a bit of variegation to it. That's so pretty. So some of the names are really intriguing. Something like the Marie Antoinette. Don't you want to know what that flower looks like? Open. That color is beautiful. one is the Royal Toast. I wonder how old this plant is. It looks so well established. Ooh, that one's gorgeous. This is the Royal Melody Rose. Let's see if we can get a peek under there. Oh, it's so pretty. I only have a few epiphyllums, but I am super inspired. This is so cool. I want to have all of them. This one's the Paradise. I still really like this, the Glamour. Am I glamorous? Tell me, am I glamorous? And I know these are mainly hybridized for their blooms, the colors, and how long they'll last, but I'm really impressed with how beefy some of these plants are. These are great for tactile plant owners that love to touch and feel their plants. It's very satisfying. This one's the Desert Sunrise. I love its color. It's got a beautiful fiery coral color to it. Oh, I like this too. The Jovial Pink Bronze. Pinks and oranges seem to be what I'm really drawn to. I was looking at these really cute blooms from the Jovial Bronze and I noticed this. It looks totally different. And I realized it's from a whole other plant right there. This is the King Midas bloom. And then the gorgeous orange of Hawaii. Oh yeah, and Elwood was saying that these are very bee friendly. You could see one in action right now. See this bee enjoying this lovely Pegasus bloom. Oh yeah, this is the Virginia Strong. The color is beautiful. Beautiful pink and orange combo on this beautiful bloom. This is the Apache Magic. And this is the Apache Trail, which looks like it's getting ready to put out some spectacular blooms. And this one's the Arturo. That one's stunning. That one's the Bamba. This beautiful, vibrant fuchsia bloom. It's got some reds, some pinks, and purples in there. This is the Bubbly Wine. A rosé all day, any day. Here's another beautiful one with more coral and fuchsia in it. This one's the Tocadero. The Tahitian Prince, looking ever so regal. Wow, this one's stunning. This one is the Convent Garden. Katie does have a pricing system here. So these in 4-inch pots are the rooted cuttings, and these go from $29. I like how in the website it states how long you should wait until you should start expecting some blooms. I'll make sure to include their website in the description below so you can check it out for yourselves. They do ship internationally, which is awesome. And they have the more established rooted cuttings. They're not just rooted cuttings anymore, they're their own plants. These start from $39. They do sell larger Epis, and those start at $49. This one's awesome. This one's the Flaming Passion. It's so pretty. Those colors say nothing but passion. And we're back to Easter morn. Now that we've gotten to explore the nursery, let's chat and get to know Katie, the person behind it all.
They're epiphytes. They live in the tops of trees in the jungle. They just want mist. And the reason I do this, they always say when you get older, it's hard to make friends and all.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, I've got so many wonderful friends all over the world, really. Dagmar in Germany, and I have people all over that I constantly emailing.
Plants are cool like that.
Yeah, so
they'll bring
really
people together.
Yes, it really does. And that's the best part of the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us here. Like, this is really cool. This is really special. And I don't really get an opportunity to ask questions to, especially with someone so experienced. And it's really special, like what you have here. So thank you.
I'm so pleased you could come and see it and film it. That's even more wonderful. I have all I have is my website, which is it's kind of outdated. Now people just go to Etsy and when they see a plant, I like that one. And online it's more complicated. You have to go and find out if I have a sale going.
Yeah, and it has a lot of information too,
right.
Which is great.
So people are starting to find me.
Yeah, they'll find you.
I was not too well for about 2 or 3 years back, and so I didn't really want anybody. And I gave my nursery a big chance to actually fill out and grow and better. And of course, I had Eric, thank goodness. I couldn't do this without his help. He lives right next door,
Oh, that's awesome. That's so nice.
Yeah, these are the freebies that we give out. And well, not usually when they buy a cutting, unless they buy a lot. But these are half a pound, and you just mix it 1 to 10 with whatever mix you're mixing. I don't like to say potting soil because it's really potting mix. And you don't want to get too much soil in there because it's too heavy. You want it to be light and fluffy. So this really, for some reason, is working miracles with it. I think the flowers are bigger even, and the pots, definitely the plants are bigger and healthier. And you use less water. You don't use much anyway.
That's good to know.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, well, don't forget water's the word.
I was recognizing some of the plants look so beefy.
Yes.
The
beefy ones probably have HGO in them.
So this will be gold.
Yeah, it comes from gold mines.
Oh.
She buys up old gold mines and then takes the soil from around there, and then she washes it. Somehow she washes the soil. Then they put it in. She sent me the bags for these, and the soil free, and I buy it by the 3-pound bags when we repot. Well, Epiphyllum should be repotted every 4 to 7 years when they're in 10-inch pots. The bigger pots like this can probably go to 7 to 10, but they like to be refreshed. And of course, if you use a real light fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, frequently during the right periods of time that's said on my website. Oh, can I tell you one story?
Yeah.
Oh, this customer came to me and they had their grandmother's house. They went up in the attic, and then this Epiphyllum plant was sitting there for they don't know, 15 years or what, just sitting with no water, nothing. They took it down, water it, would you believe it bloomed? So wow. They're pretty indestructible. You do have to look out for scale. I tell you how to take care of that on the web. Rubbing alcohol, isopropyl.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a really strong plant, it can take it full. If it's a weaker, smaller plant, like 1 to 3 years, you'd want to add 50-50 water to the isopropyl.
Oh, that's good to
Spray it, make a little toothbrush and brush it off and do it till it's gone.
Those scales.
And if it's really bad, if it's like really you got there too late, just get rid of it, throw it away.
Start fresh.
The part that's injured. But you can also use other things. I think I have them on the web. If not, call me.
How easy are they to propagate?
Oh, I hate to tell you this. If sometimes something get broken off, just break it off and just stick it back in the soil.
Just like other succulents.
But pretty much. But otherwise, I used to start them in perlite. because that way I didn't overwater, and I never lost it. I had like 98% good making. But on the video, I had a couple customers compare perlite to regular mixed soil mix, and they like the soil mix better.
Oh.
So the video shows it was soil mix, and it takes you just have to forget them. You have to wait 7 to 10 days for the cutting to harden over, so it doesn't rot. And then you put it in your mix, or perlite mix. Perlite's an extra step, but if you're doing a lot of them, do perlite. But if you're just doing your own, put it in a little 4-inch pot, because they have to be root bound to bloom. So you don't want to put now these have big plants and little roots. So you go, okay, what do I do now? Well, you put it, we have lots of airplanes. Safe flight. When you're rooting them, just put them in about 2.5 inches down. You want to cut the tips off because you don't want the plants going out the tips. It gets really top heavy. So cut just a little bit of the tip off so you don't have any plant growing out the top of your cutting. Cuttings, all you really need is 4 inches for a cutting. Take a little longer, but not necessarily. You want to have at least the little orioles. See these little guys in here? The little notches orioles. You want to have at least 2 of those on the bottom underneath the soil on each side. 1.5 to 2 inches usually does it, because that's where your roots are going to come out.
Okay, so these kind of act like nodes.
Yeah, nodes. They could be called nodes.
Yeah.
I like that. If you see color in a node, you know you're going to get a blossom. So eat it. And if you have a really ugly cutting, don't cut it off until after the next year, because they really love to thrive. They think they're dying, so they really put out lots of blooms on a sad looking,
trying to survive.
On a sad looking stem, they call it. They don't have leaves. Bad timing. So you leave it, put it in. I always moisten my soil mix when I'm starting a cutting. Moisten it, not soggy, never soggy. They don't like soggy at all. They'll die on you. They'll rot out. They like to be like a wrung out sponge. Okay? So that's very important. But first, let's finish the cutting. You put it down in there, and then you put it in the shady part. Shade for roots, sun for blooms. Okay? They say don't ever put an epi out here in the full sun. Well, I do it because sometimes I have some that haven't bloomed much, and so I put them in the full sun. And they also say don't move them once you have buds started. Depends on if you're moving them, like if somebody buys a plant and takes it inside the house and it has little buds starting, they'll probably fall off. Go back to the cutting. Leave it like in your bathroom where it's misty. And don't keep watering, and you don't have to cover it with a glass jar or anything. Just leave it for 4 to 6 weeks. You can spritz it with water, but not the soil. You don't want it to rot. It doesn't have roots, it can't drink.
Can't drink, okay.
So just the stem, you put the stem in, and then wait. Just wait 4 to 6 weeks. Some of mine I have left them in a year. That was when I was doing massive, 20 to a pot, shoebox size pot, the plastic pot.
Wow.
Always have holes in the bottoms of everything you put them in. You don't want it to be sitting in soggy. You don't put a saucer under ever.
Okay.
Okay, and if you do, get rid of the water as soon as you see it. It can't be soggy.
I have some other questions prepared for you.
Taco.
Where did your love of plants come from?
Well, my great-grandfather, he still has a nursery. His nursery still exists up in Oregon, next to Walla Walla, Washington, in the border in Oregon. I'll think of it in a minute. Senior moment here. And in the 1800s, he had the largest nursery this side of the Mississippi. I have the book inside. His catalog. It's leather and it's hand painted. Apples, oranges, flowers, bushes, trees, you name it. He had everything you could absolutely ever want. Most gorgeous roses in the world. They don't even, some of them they exist. Fruit, vegetables, peaches. I mean, he had everything. It still exists. Milton Freewater Valley. And it's still going. And it's in the, if you look on the iPad, the other day I looked at the iPad and saw my great-grandfather, Aaron Miller. He was a character. He was good looking when he was young, and he had a beard this long. I should get that too. After we're through all this, I got to show you that book.
That'd be cool.
It's like over 100 years old.
That's amazing.
And so anyway, but I looked at the iPad and I looked him up, and lo and behold, said he had the largest nursery this side of the Mississippi. It's still in existence. They make over $1 million a year. I wish I did. I don't want to give them the money. And then down below it was my name, the largest Epiphyllum nursery this side of the Mississippi. I was so shocked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, his great granddaughter.
Carrying on the legacy.
funny?
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, it's been a lot. I just love flowers. Actually, roses are my favorite. Double Delight. My favorite flower in the whole world is Double Delight. It has a fragrance that you can't pass up. Of course, the Epiphyllum, the queen of the night. You go to look at epiphyllums. They say all these things are queen of the night. Well, it has to be white and only bloom at night. If it's colorful, it's probably a hybrid, meaning that people have come together, bees and birds, and mixed them up with pollens. And like, but fortunately, we have some bees here that are doing the work for us.
Yeah, I caught some.
That's when you leave a flower on and let it die and don't take it off. It'll turn into a seed pod, and by Christmas, you'll have a nice ripe seed pod. You can eat it like a kiwi, and each one has a little different flavor. Or you can take the seeds and separate them and sell them. They're getting, what, $4.95 for like 10 seeds? Something ridiculous. You get like 100 seeds per pod.
Are the seeds hard to propagate at all?
7 years.
7
I
years,
never have
okay,
done it.
that
I've
takes some
propagated
time.
my plumerias. I started from seed. I have about 9 of them.
They're huge.
Many years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I started those from seeds.
And you mentioned,
Hi guys.
safe travels.
I have a sip.
No, not at all.
Which reminds me, when you water an epi, if you have you get a cheap moisture measurer, and you just stick it down 2/3 of the way straight down, halfway between the edge and the main center of the plant, 2/3 of the way down. And if it measures, mine are all 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. If it measures at 1 or below, water. When you water thoroughly. Never just give it a sip.
Okay.
You can spritz it early morning and late evening. They like to be spritzed in the summer especially, but don't do it in the middle of the day. You get spots. Likely.
Burn
Not always,
spots.
but sometimes. Well, yeah, we get white spots too from about that big. It's actually a scar from the sun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes on the stems. Doesn't hurt it, but not,
it's not pretty.
Not pretty. Now, that's another thing. So you water it thoroughly, and that means you water it till it comes out the bottom because you have good loose soil, and then you water it again till it comes, water it again to the top.
Just to make
That's
sure.
why you always never fill up a pot higher than the water line. I call that the water line.
Okay.
Most every pot has a water line. You can't really bury these too deep, like a tomato plant. But it's best if you could transferring it from one to the other, do it the same as it was, same height.
I got a question.
Sure.
So you mentioned your first epiphyllum you got when you were 11?
Our next door neighbor, Shepherd, Mr. Shepherd, gave my father a cutting. And then he planted it. In those days, you did it kind of just in horticultural sand, which is really a little heavy, but that's how you started it back in 1948. And in those days, the only way you can get an epiphyllum cutting was from a person who had them. It was kind of like you had to know somebody or be somebody, and it's like yeah, enough is enough.
Yeah, no gatekeeping.
No. Anyway, and I went out and I actually worked at the zoo. They have a beautiful collection up at the not the zoo, but the wildlife.
Oh yes, the wild animal park.
They're making it the largest collection in the world.
So what about the epiphyllum made you fall in love with it?
Well, when my dad sold his home overlooking Point Loma and had to move up to the mountains in Pine Valley. I lived in Idlewild. He said, well, I wanted to get some of the epis from him. He had a lot of big plants, pots. My dad sold his house, and I begged him to give me some of the pots. He said, well, the people buying the house really like the house. I like the plants, like flowers. He forgot to ask them if they like taking care of them. Because I went by there a couple of years later, and they were just dying out and nothing and blah, blah, blah. So I got him to give me 3 plants. I still have one. I went to George French, who's one of the famous hybridizers. He lived between this house and my house on Post Street in the middle by Point Loma High School. And I got most of my cuttings from him. I bought a lot from a couple of the sellers and from the Epi Society. And many of them were misnamed. And I pray that I never misname one, but you can't, when you have people working for you, you can. Anyway, we try to save our reputation by only shipping out what we know is true. If not, we just call it an unk. Even if it doesn't match up with the registration book, there's a registrar's book. It's about this big, and it has just black and white
Wow.
entries, only about this big each. there's thousands of epi hybrids, thousands, or every day.
Wow.
There's a guy in Germany who's trying to make them so that they, well, there's one guy trying to get fragrance in them by using the Oxypetalum, has a huge fragrance, the queen of the night, species Oxypetalum. And there's a guy that's trying to get them to bloom every month of the year. So far we have a lot of them. I think we have them blooming about 5 or 6 at least, maybe more by now. A lot of the times when you cross them, a lot of them come out not worth saving. I have a customer who makes new barley. He says you have to take it to Washington, D.C. to get a new barley on the market. You have to prove it's better than any other barley on the market. And he does 1,500 new ones a year.
Wow.
And last time they had so much fuss between the Democrats and the Republicans that he was there for days. I don't think he ever got his big old cane. He's a sweetheart. He's in Hawaii. He buys like $500 worth of cuttings at a time.
Wow.
And he has to put them inside at night in the winter because it gets too cold. They'll die if there's frost.
Okay, yeah.
If they can take temperatures from 36, preferably I like to say 40, from 40 to 90 is their favorite, or even 70. When Groundhog Day comes, February, and that's the day when you want to feed them the low nitrogen, like no higher than 2-10 is good, because you don't want the leaves to grow, you want the flowers to bloom. So in February, as soon as you don't have any frost if you live in the cold country, and as soon as you can bring your plants outside, feed them 2-10-10 or 0-10-10 or anything with a low or no nitrogen. George French, a hybridizer, he used to say don't put anything more than ever an 8 in your nitrogen.
Oh, wow.
But people do 14. I mean, I didn't feed them to bloom this year. So the reason I didn't set them up to bloom this year is my people love my cuttings. Mine are really big and strong. They're older plants. They're not flimsy. A lot of people I've sold plants now are selling them on Etsy and Bitsy and all those things. And so I had one gal, my Acapulco Sunset, 5 or 10 years ago. She wanted to buy all my cuttings, and you should never take more than a third of your plant for cuttings. And then they have to be not new ones either. They can't be shiny. They have to at least. Like a cow doesn't give milk until it's had a baby.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to take a cutting and make more cuttings until it's had a bloom. So after your flowers have bloomed for first 1 or 2 years, that'd be a perfect cutting.
Yeah.
Then you take a cutting, and you take a cutting. You should take it all the way down to the end, and then what you do is this is from thumb to little finger is 8 inches. So give that much to the top or the bottom, either one, whichever you want, to your customer. And then use the other 4 inches for yourself because you know it's going to grow.
So it's like one for me, one for you.
Yeah. You always, if you have a problem with a plant, look at the roots. The roots are the most important part of a plant, and people don't know that.
They'll tell you everything.
Yeah, they'll tell you. So these most people call a rooted cutting a cutting with roots on the bottom. These I call rooted cuttings, and look at them. I've had 2 or 3 blooms even.
Yeah,
my rooted cuttings are actually small
plants.
But to do that, I have to go in and change every one to small plant, then all of my small plants to medium plants, and that's a lot of plants. There's everyone here.
It's a lot of work. You're good.
I've done that a couple of times. I also have on my webpage. It says gallons. Well, gallons is really a large plant, but it's usually in a gallon pot, 99% of the time. It should be.
Are there any words of wisdom that you'd like to impart on the world?
You know what comes to my mind first?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's appropriate here.
That's okay.
I had a brother who was 15 months older, and we swam in the La Jolla Marathon swim when I was 11 in 1949 or whatever. And he came and asked my dad for permission because they didn't have enough swimmers. Well, Gregory Peck was coming down to present the trophies. And so I loved Gregory Peck. And his nephew was in my classroom in the 3rd grade.
That's so cool.
And I put a love note in his pocket when he was walking home from school one day. Anyway, I think he was too young to think about girls. I was not too young to think about boys. And so my brother, every time, and I was quite a sports. I did sailing. I was the first girl in the fleet. They wouldn't let girls in. They said, "Well, you need crew for your brother." Guess who came and crewed for me when he was little? The guy that won the big sailing. What's the big? what the heck was his name? He was a skinny little freckled kid. Now he's a big, strong man. The one that won the big sailing, the worldwide sailing thing. Can you think of his name? Come on, someone. Anyway, he crewed for me when I was a kid. I taught him everything he knows. You know how he used to win his big races? I mean, he's like the sailor name of the United States. It was a few years back, but not that many. And I taught him that take a long tack rather than a bunch of short ones, because every time you take a short tack, you have to get the wind on the other side of your sails, and you have to go starboard to port, port to starboard, and you lose all that time. So if you know your currents, and you know where you're going, and you can plot it out, stay on the same tack rather than a lot of short tacks that stay close to your mooring. Stay on the right tack till you know that the wind's going to hit your sails just correctly, so that you can just go right by the next buoy, and you'll win a race. I taught him that when he was 10 years old. The name of the famous sailor from San Diego, won the big worldwide. We're always competing against
He's won all those.
the Star, the Cup, America's Cup.
America's Cup, yeah.
Come on, America's Cup.
America's Cup. I
You
mean,
too young?
maybe someone can write in the comments.
Okay.
Dennis Walter?
So
Dennis Walter?
No.
No.
Look up. It's as close as my name. Anyway, so my brother, when I started competing in all these different things, swimming and sailing and all this, and I got to be the only girl in the Starlet fleet, 18.5-foot sailboat sloop, and it's close to the water, and I had all these handsome, rich guys that I was sailing with. Fun. And when you would win a race, they would throw you overboard. They'd take you off the docks and take you by your two hands and legs, and they'd toss you into the bay. And I thought,
Fun.
this is so great. I have boys all around me. I was little, yeah. So it was really fun.
Cooper?
Who?
Is it Dennis Cooper?
Yeah, Dennis, not Cooper, but Dennis Connors.
Dennis Connors.
He was such a cute little kid. Yeah, and he said, please take Dennis sailing with you. And so I said, okay. So he crewed for me for a while on my Starlet. But I became the first girl Commodore.
That's awesome.
The first girl of the fleet, and then that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then all the girls started getting in. It wasn't nearly as much fun.
Yeah. You started
really, it wasn't as much fun. Oh, guys. So back to my brother, the words of wisdom. He said, Katie, the only reason you ever win is because the person that should have did not enter. Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
He always kept my ears pinned back.
That's loaded. That's a
Isn't that
loaded
cool?
comment.
I love my brother. Like my dad, they didn't have many words to say, but when they did, they said something wonderful. Yeah, again, I'm going to repeat it. Katie, the only reason you ever win is because the person that should have won did not enter. Isn't that cool? Those are my words of wisdom from my brother to your ears.
Keeps you always
humble.
working hard,
Yeah,
huh?
well, it makes you realize that they're absolutely right. Other words of wisdom are what my dad said, oh, here's the other words of wisdom. From my dad.
From your dad.
Oh, my dad did. He said, attitude is the most important thing. The way you know what attitude means.
Mm-hmm.
The way you respond to anything around you.
Yep.
Attitude.
Very
The
true.
right attitude. I have a wonderful son, and all of his friends. I told them, all work, no, you've heard that. So
Yeah.
All work, no play makes you boring.
Uh-huh.
I taught all of his kids. I took them abalone diving. And I took them out sailing. I took them out golfing, and they all to this day say, "Thank you, Katie." They're all doing one or the other, or all three. And I said, and tennis. I helped. Yeah, Ted Kramer. I got him out to serve. Work less and play more,
Absolutely.
and get friends. Don't be a hermit. I mean, it's easy to be a hermit.
It is.
You know, put
It's
your feet
too
up and sit
easy.
on the couch. Get out and enjoy. Go look at the ocean. Go look at the sunsets. Go, like you say, enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
I've fortunately been able to scuba dive all over the world.
That's so cool.
And
I'm certified too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been all over. The
Sydney?
Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm Filipino.
Yeah, we dived up there. It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful there. Yeah, I've
We were there a couple
dove
days.
there
Yeah.
before. Dove.
Dived.
Dived.
That's right.
Wise word.
That's
That's awesome.
It. Those are my words of
Wow,
wisdom.
that's
Do I have
awesome.
any of my own? Oh yeah. Stop watering your plants too much.
Very wise words there.
Oh, and never stop enjoying life.
Oh, Yeah.
And when you have a bad day, it's going to pass like with a bad cloud. Sun always comes out.
What a beautiful nursery Garden Jewels Nursery is. It has so many beautiful plants and so much heart. It was awesome getting to know Katie and asking her questions and just talking about plants, life, her family stories. And it was also awesome meeting her staff, Eric and Elwood. So nice to meet you. And Elwood, thank you so much for reaching out to me. This was awesome. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I also got a plant. I did get a Epiphyllum, the Frillings Gold. So cool. I'm so excited. Thank you for that. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. If you liked this video, you know what to do. Please throw me a bone and give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my plant videos, come plant shopping with me. Hit that subscribe button. I can't wait to see you in the next video. I just don't want to miss you too much. So if you could show me some love in the comments, and I'll meet you there. Bye.
Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete.